Definitely, I feel like this team is trending in the right direction, right? They're becoming a unit, right? They're coming together. I feel like during practice, when things are getting out of hand, they're getting composed. They're huddling up. You know, things that you see from a college team. So I love that about them, and also they're dying to their pride. They're dying to themselves and understanding that they're getting this done as a team, and it's showing in the games, right? So I love that about the team. You know, I feel like a couple guys are starting to lead without being told. I see Hansel. Hansel's doing an amazing job at just regrouping the group whenever things aren't going their way on the court, right? He's stepping up as that leader that we need, and he's very vocal, which I love, and that's something that we lack, right? We lack because we're a young team, and I also see that from Noah. Noah, not only is he a great player, and we know what he could do on the court with his skills, right? But also his leadership. I'm starting to see it more, and it just comes with maturity. He's getting older, a lot more responsibility on his shoulders, and he's taking it upon himself to lead. So I love that about those two guys. I came out fire.
I feel like we did a really good job at Made Hoops. I think our expectations were really high. We want to get in the top 5 teams. Unfortunately, we took a loss that was controversial, but there's nothing we can do about that. And we were not able to be on the top teams, but we won our consolation game, which we went 2-1. So we didn't want to get to what we wanted to get to, but we were 2-1 on the weekend, and we played some really good basketball. So at the end, you know, we didn't get to what we wanted to get, but we came out with a winning record and actually like a 50-point blowout. So we played really good basketball. Not what we wanted, but I think we met some expectations. What stands out most about this group from this past weekend was resiliency. We lost our second game at the buzzer, basically like I said before, on a bad call. And I think our third game was a tougher team, more athletic. They had played a really good game against Boyd Anderson the game before. Lost by 1 at the buzzer, and we came into that game with that loss and kind of controlled the game the whole way and won by 15. So I think resiliency, they take the loss, they take the losses, and they just come back harder. And I think that's a great trait to have at this point, beginning right now. I think we are ahead of schedule or where we want to be, which is a little scary. We don't want to be too ahead and get into the season and then kind of get comfortable. But I think we're trending every day we get better. So the focus right now is like a big quote that is out there is 1% better every day. And that's the focus right now. And I think we're doing a really good job at that. When guys make mistakes, when guys have a bad practice, they come in the next day, forget about it. So the trending upward is there. So I think we're doing a really good job at that.
Stop, don't look at me like that.
There you go.
You can look at him like that, get him all flushed, and then... Don't do that. All right, you ready?
I believe this past weekend I made hoops. I performed well, controlled the pace, scored the ball, facilitated to my teammates, picked up 94 feet. So I'm proud of how I did this weekend.
I feel like this weekend going 2-1 was kind of a disappointment, especially the way we played our second game. Because the first quarter we were 22-4 in the first quarter, and it should have never gotten to the point where they went against us.
Just piggybacking off him, yeah. We went up 22-4, and then they went on like a 20-4 run, and they tied it up kind of. I believe if like a scout came to our game and saw us for the first time, they'll think we're a very disciplined, fundamental team. We get after it, dive on the floor, we take charges.
If another program or another player saw us, I would think they would think that we're burgers, or like we're sweet, we're trash, because we don't really have. If a scout or another team saw us, we'll be a good program. We'll dodge the loose balls. We always regroup after dead balls. Always. We box out really heavy. We always keep each other composed, and we have sets after set after set, and we work hard. I feel like how practice went this week. Our first practice of this week was really competitive. Everyone was emotional, frustrated. Everyone was yelling at each other, especially the white team, yelling at each other, not being composed, not regrouping. But at the end, they figured it out, and how we usually do, we always figure things out together as a team.
And to end off the week, I feel like we played against the coaches. They tested our composure, how well we know the sets. And I think we did well. We ended up winning. And yeah, we just stuck together as a team.
From a coach's perspective, I definitely love watching how the guys competed this week in practice, right? They're starting to understand the offensive flow with the sets that Ralph and Coach Eric are putting together. Even with the new guys, Jacob, Johnny, they're buying in. So I'm starting to see them insert themselves into the offense. And also on the defensive end, right? We're one of the smaller teams, and we understand that, but they're buying into it every day in practice, and that's why you see us compete in these tournaments, and these guys are taking 3, 4, 5, 6 charges in the whole weekend when a lot of teams don't even take 1 charge. So, from a coach's perspective, they're doing everything that we're asking from them. Obviously, there's still room for improvement, right? Not being rushed, being composed. But that comes with experience, and we're a young team, and we understand that, but the more reps they get in practice, the more reps they get in games, the better they're gonna get at that. So I love what I'm seeing. I love what I saw from this week, and I hope it just continues to trickle down every week.
Yeah, so I wanted to come in and have the coaches challenge the guys a little bit with a little bit of pace and communication, and they actually won. So they're doing a good job. They're doing great stuff. So practice this week was more about how are they looking when we're at pace offensively? How are they looking defensively? How are they setting their screens? And we got a really good test from coaches. We played today against them, and they took the win. So we're very excited about that. So it was a good week of practice.
Good job, coach. You good? Enjoy.
All right.
Man.